Maybe in a decade they take me out on a stretcher till I come back like Roman Reigns. Blood in my veins, still boiling and the pot finna bubble up. 10 blunts lit, I got the drop in the double cup. Bro, they know I'm at the spot and I'm finna fuck them up. Pearly gates waiting, but it's no heaven. Call me baby reverend, choke him out like Dan Severn, and my brother still bludgeon. We at the complex on a new day. Dreads to my ears, I look like Lupe. Yeah.
What up, doing everybody, and welcome to the 15th episode of Permanent Marks. I'm one half of your host. My name's Patrick Busey.
And I'm Aaron Parker. What up, doing?
What up, doing everybody? Yeah, we brought you back. We said we weren't gonna be away long. We kind of stuck to the same schedule, a week away. Not bad. Look at us. We can do stuff sometimes.
We're doing it big. I got Red Bull, by the way, guys. It's not alcohol.
Aaron's got some Red Bull this week.
I do have alcohol, but right now it's Red Bull.
Right now it's Red Bull. So he'll be leaving to pee every 5 minutes for a different reason, you know? But yeah, let's get into it. It's a big week for wrestling. Bigger week, I gotta say, for my favorite company, which is AEW. With All In this Sunday in the middle of the day, which kind of is amazing for me because I can get down with that. Like these late night ones that are 6 hours long that go till 1 a.m, ain't really fitting with my sleep schedule.
I don't think there's a PLE or whatever WWE calls them now that has been put on in the past 6 months that I haven't been like nodding out in the last hour of. Like it's what was the last one? SummerSlam. I was like,
we watched Mania Night 2 together, I remember.
Yeah.
And even that kind of kept it succinct and like together. It was still like an hour too long. Like at the end we were like we riled back up for the Cody Roman
stuff.
If I'm
but watching it was like, if it's just me and my girl watching a PLE or a pay-per-view at the house, guarantee like by the last hour.
What does PLE stand for?
Premium Live Events.
Oh,
that's what they call them now.
Suck me.
But I can guarantee you by the last hour, she's on TikTok and I'm like nodding. Like, and I'm like, babe, why didn't you wake me up? And she's like looking at TikTok, not engaging to the matches. So,
do you think like Vince changing the names of all these things like is helping, or is it just him like trolling? Why change it from paper? I mean, like, I don't know.
Because technically, it's not a pay per view. Technically, it's a premium live event because you're paying for the streaming service. Technically. But we still call them pay-per-views.
But then everything's a fucking premium live event because you're paying for Hulu to watch WWE Raw. And
you know what's funny is like for the longest time I didn't know what to call them because I was like they're not really pay-per-views anymore, but I still just call them pay-per-views until I started to hear people say PLE, and I was like, okay,
yeah, maybe this is a thing that has been around for a minute, but I don't know. I've still referred to them as pay-per-views, like.
That's because we're old.
Come over and watch pay-per-views.
That's because we're old, man.
We're going to listen to our CDs and...
For real. Out. Like 10 years from now, we're going to be saying pay-per-views and like people are going to be like, what the fuck is a pay-per-view? Like, I'm like...
I remember in my day when you couldn't just stream all these. You had to pay $50.
Like $50? Like, yes.
I don't even think... I think they used to be like $100. Like, I feel like Mania and shit used to be like $100 or something. I could be wrong, but I remember talking to my parents about getting it for me. It fucking felt like $100.
Oh yeah. Like I remember, like just like even besides wrestling shit, like I'd be like, oh, there's a Jerry Springer pay-per-view. It's $70. Like, yeah.
See, you had some different shit because I didn't even know Jerry Springer had pay-per-views.
Yeah, bro, Jerry Springer. I think.
Mutants out of the sewers to fight each other or something?
Well, all right, so we're going to go off the rails for a second with this one. But I think like back in the day, pay-per-view was like before, Corn Hubs,
okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Yeah.
I guess that does make sense. I guess. Yeah. You used to be able to buy all the
Like Girls Gone Wild and shit.
yeah all those fucking top quality porno movies.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Moms gets the cable bill like, what is Hot Ebony Milfs 3? Mom, it's just a wrestling show.
It's just a wrestling show. They were grappling. The grapplers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But getting back to wrestling and away from porn video.
What a way to start.
We're gonna get into All In, and we have a fun thing today. But to kind of like start off this show, I think I definitely want to talk about. We were talking before the show about WWE's booking, and how I guess Triple H has taken a step down from COO, or has been forced to take a step down as COO, and is now the Chief Creative Officer. Is that what he is now?
I mean, that's what COO is. Now he's head of
shit, yeah.
He's head of creative now, or head of creative.
So do you think like that you've seen stuff that show that kind of change? Or
well, that's kind of what I was getting at earlier when we were talking about wanting to talk about this, because I was talking to my little brother on the phone last night, and I was telling him how sick it makes me to hear wrestling fans go, oh, like the Triple H era of booking. And my thing is like, what we've seen on Raw since the whole first Vince McMahon not allegations, but the whole first Vince McMahon situation was going down. A lot of people were dubbing that the Triple H era. And to me, it's like, we've seen what Triple H's booking is. It's NXT. Like, what's on TV right now is, and I described it like this the other night when I was talking to my brother, what's on TV right now is, like, you got two people that are both trying to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And one of the people owns the kitchen and was like, you can make your own peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But when Triple H goes in to make his own peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Vince, the kitchen owner, says, why are you toasting the bread? And Triple H says, well, I like the bread toasted. And Vince is like, okay, we'll just toast one piece and we'll keep the other piece untoasted. And then Triple H is like, all right. And then Triple H is using crunchy peanut butter. And Vince is like, but I want creamy. So he's like, all right, we'll just put crunchy on one half of the bread and creamy on the other side. It's like, there's so many things that look like that to me. Like, okay.
That is a fucking very good.
Tommaso Ciampa comes up to Raw, right? Yeah. Great. You can see Vince was like, oh, yeah, sure, Tommaso Ciampa could come up. And Triple H is probably like, well, Johnny Gargano too, and we want to put him in a team together. And Vince was like, sure. And Triple H is like, all right. And Vince is like, well, as long as you let me book him a little bit. And Triple H is like, okay, that's fine. And Vince is like, let's put Johnny Gargano with The Miz too. And Triple H is like, you know what? That makes sense because Ciampa's with The Miz. And Vince is like, yeah. And then let's throw in Dexter Lumis. And Triple H is like, what? What happened to the sandwich, Vince? Now the sandwich tastes like shit. So you can just see that it's like shit like that that's going on. It's so weird. It's so to me, it's not really the Triple H era yet, and I don't think it ever will be until Vince inevitably dies.
I don't think until Vince goes away for good that it'll ever be fully Triple H. And who knows what it even looks like when Vince is actually gone? You know, like if it does go to Triple H or if it goes to some entity and they turn it into, you know, an entertainment show that's not the same.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that, man, because that's literally like the same road that me and my brother's combo went down. He was like, yeah, what happens when, you know, Endeavor gets tired of WWE as their new play toy and then Disney buys it and ruins it like they did Marvel? And I'm like, that could happen. That could happen.
Yeah. I mean, nothing that Vince has done in the last few years has pointed to like something otherwise, you know, like the selling to, which I don't even know the end of that story. Did that story ever even like kind of pan out with the Saudi stuff? Does Saudi Arabia own WWE, or is that like
I think a lot of, and this is my thing with everything with WWE especially. I think a lot of this shit is like planted stories to just make people like, you know, run with shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is because I don't think the Saudis ever were seriously going to buy it, but I think the fact that they had enough money to be a serious contender was making a lot of people think that, oh, the Saudis could, which yeah, they could, but I don't think that was ever a realistic thing. I think
that's right. You just said it. Endeavor bought WWE, so that was the big thing. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. There's been so much wrestling shit that's happened this year. Like it's just like
look. The Saudis, Endeavor, they're all the same, honestly.
I don't fucking know anymore.
They're all rich white people. Well, the Saudis aren't white.
Well, the Saudis ain't white, but they
might as well be.
They're rich too. All rich people, same. But yeah, I don't. You see glimpses of like Triple H trying, like you said with the Ciampa, Johnny Gargano stuff, but like it doesn't ever seem to pan out, and that's like kind of what you were getting at, where you just want to see something go all the way through, and it seems like the only thing that we've really gotten on that is the Bloodline. And they've gone all the way through that about 5 times now. So like, it's just like, they just keep that story going because it's the moneymaker and it's understandable. Keep the story going, when it's making you money. But then you see shit like the Sheamus, Gunther, stuff that happened. I guess Drew McIntyre was in there too. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, what happened with that? Like Gunther just beat him every time, like, and is Gunther like a huge money maker for WWE? Like, merch wise, do you think? I
don't think so merch wise, but I will say that like Gunther's push does have Triple H's fingers all over it. But again,
it's got to be. But yeah,
to the peanut butter and jelly sandwich thing, it's like there's parts of it that's like, why is this part of the bread soft and not toasted like the other part? You know what I mean?
But you can also, I guess, put Gunther in monster territory, and Vince loves monsters.
Of all the Triple H projects, that one has turned out like the best because of the monster thing. I mean, like another one is like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like it's great and awesome to see them main eventing a lot of shows and stuff. But it's like, what are you doing with them? Like they after the Bloodline, it's like that's the soft piece of bread on the sandwich. That's
literally it was like it was like Triple H and Vince were like, we'll give you the tag belts to fuck off, like so that we don't have to see you anymore. Right. And then it was like I just didn't care about anything else that was happening because who's the like major threat to the tag team division? Yeah. It's the Usos. If you're not involved with the Usos, then who gives a shit? Like New Day is gone. You have Chad and Otis and stuff like that, but you don't have like 2 that are as, I guess you got Street Profits.
They're building the Street Profits up with Bobby Lashley now, and that kind of like Hurt Business 2.0 type of thing.
Who aren't they going to put Bobby Lashley with? What?
They just stick all the black people together. And
do stick all the black people together, but Bobby Lashley has been there for so long that he's been with like every black. Except for maybe the New Day. Because the New Day were just like, nah, he ain't funny enough. He can't.
Don't you know the New Days are the house Negroes of the WWE? Let me stop.
All right, we're going to sidestep that conversation.
Not those guys. I'm just kidding. But, I mean, it's really interesting because just much like the Gunther thing, I think that, this is going to kind of get into something that you were talking about earlier. I think that a story that has legs that you can tell Triple H has his hands all over is the Seth Rollins championship run. Because Seth Rollins is this guy, and you can tell. So I think there's like certain things in there, like just like there's parts of the sandwich that are good. There's other parts that you're like, we can work on this. We can work on this.
It's okay, but yeah, I mean, like you can give Seth that run, and you can put your whole dick into it, but like it's not. It's the secondary belt thing again that we talked about, like when we got that belt. Like you can put it all in there, but like Seth's been to the top of that mountain before with like, IC titles and US titles. And that's all that belt feels like. It doesn't feel like the actual Roman has the actual belt, like,
yeah.
It's like when AJ won the WWE championship the first time. But Brock still had the Universal Championship.
Right. And it was just the red belt. Brock had the red belt or whatever.
Yeah. And then, but I think it was before the WWE Championship was the SmackDown one. I think it was just the black
you're right.
belt.
I think it was like the house that AJ Styles built. Type thing.
And that shit was all cool, but then it's just like it takes away from it so much, like that. It's just like
I think
you're the champ, but you're not the champ.
I think
you know?
Vince is obsessed with the concept of making chicken salad out of chicken shit. He loves when he can give somebody the shittiest gimmick, the shittiest story, and they can just run with it. And he's like, "Oh, okay, you're over now." Well, like LA Knight's a perfect example, right? Like I'm sure Triple H had a conversation backstage with LA Knight and was like, "Look, man, you're just gonna have to get yourself over it."
you're just gonna have to eat some shit for a minute, my guy.
And LA Knight got himself over it. And now finally Vince is like, okay, you're selling all this. Okay, well, we'll give you the US title.
But I'm still so weary about it. Like I'm still like, it's not the old thing because we're gonna go into the age stuff soon. But like, it's just that he hasn't been there in WWE yet. Because that's what WWE likes to do. Get you there in like your early 30s, mid 30s, but only for a second.
Yeah.
So you can get beat. And then you know what it's like to be there and you can kind of work your way back up. Which is like a good, I think, way of doing it. Because you think about like Seth Rollins, you think about Roman, even Finn.
Randy Orton's a perfect example.
Randy Orton, definitely, yeah. Cena too. Like the early runs are cool. They're like for the fans, but then when they come back and they're established now because you saw them win and you've wanted them to win since they won the first time, and you're like, that first run wasn't that great, but now he's this. That's a good way of doing it. But LA Knight's already in the established role.
Right.
So Vince is like, I don't know if we can do a bunch of years with this dude, maybe we can just get one championship.
AJ Styles was definitely an anomaly in that sense. I think AJ is one of those guys who
you're right.
was a special case. I think, and it's because he was AJ Styles, right? And I say this as someone who is not the biggest Kenny Omega fan, but I think Kenny Omega is kind of in that same boat. Like if Kenny Omega were, which is not going to happen now because he just signed a long ass deal.
Yeah, he's not going WWE.
But if it were to happen in an alternate reality, I think Kenny Omega is another guy. There's only a few guys who could ever really do that, who could come over being 35 plus and become a champion, the world champion, not any champion.
I think
be the top guy.
I think he'll do it before, but I think you get that out of MJF when he eventually goes.
WWE. Without a doubt.
I think he does it before he's 35 though. Or what? How old is MJF?
He's 20. He's 25, I think. So he's got plenty of time. He's 25.
He's 27.
27. Wow. Okay, he's older than I thought, but he's got plenty of time.
He's 27. He's an old bitch
if this was
he's on his last legs.
If this was 10 years ago and AEW was around, I think Kenny would have went to WWE by now. But I think it's just, it's just different timing.
If he was looking down, if AEW was maybe 10 years earlier, like you were saying, and he was looking down that many more years in wrestling, and he could, do his Kenny shit, then yeah, it would have probably happened. But I think he's kind of said as much that he might be on his last hoorah before he goes. So maybe we don't see that, but you never know. Who knows? AEW could go under tomorrow.
Dude, look, and good for him. Take as many Tiger Driver 91s to the head as you can in the next 3 years. Get your money. Get your money and go sit down and ice your back.
Chill in Japan with your cats or whatever he does.
Ice your lower back every day for 4 hours, please, sir. Please, you deserve it.
But I was going to say, some of the booking that I saw, I just saw, kind of highlights, but I liked what I saw this week on Raw. You had Chad Gable beating Gunther in a count out of the ring, which I hadn't seen in kind of a while, honestly. You don't see that in AEW too much, and I don't watch WWE to know if that's a regular thing that they do.
In title matches, you don't see it a lot in title matches anymore.
Yeah. And it was just kind of refreshing to see. And to see kind of Chad get a little shine on beating Gunther because
thank you.
Yeah. And then what we were talking about before that I really wanted to talk about was Shinsuke getting an all Japanese promo and actually being kind of sick. Like them doing a package and making it so that he doesn't have to go out there and talking Japanese and nobody understands, and then he just says like asshole or I'll beat you, and it's just like it would have been cooler if we could have just seen a promo package, like
Yeah.
or just put some fucking subtitles on it. You know
what's
like,
funny
like,
is I feel like it's been said by everybody who's a mark at some point. Like, let the people who are from different countries talk with subtitles. Like, you have enough money to do it. Don't have them go out there looking like it. They did it for Asuka one time, I think. It was her and was it her and Io when they were arguing in the ring? I think. Oh no, that might have been on YouTube. Somebody translated it, so never mind.
yeah, I don't think it's been done. But
like,
now
why
that
not? We watch anime, we can read subtitles.
I know, that's what I was saying. We were watching it. We were like, this is a straight up anime villain. This is great. I love it. And especially when you have Io Sky right now as champion, right? She hasn't lost it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not sure because that belt ain't staying on her long.
To be fair, she speaks better English than both Shinsuke and Asuka. They should let her talk more.
But I just think it's like, I just think it makes sense for them to do the subtitles and just like fucking, especially when they're like in backstage interviews that are pre-filmed or whatever. Like, let them go off back there and then let them have like crazy face downs in the ring or whatever.
For somebody like Shinsuke, it could be especially effective because, I mean, we all know about how WWE is terrible at pushing Japanese talent. Like, they always have been. Like, go back to Taka Michinoku and Funaki. Like, all Funaki said for fucking 10 years was Indeed. Like, and then number one, and Indeed, that's all he said. So we know how bad they are at pushing Japan. And Tajiri never spoke. Tajiri was fucking awesome. Tajiri could have had a run like Nakamura has had, but, different times, he was a victim of that. But it could really be effective for somebody like Nakamura because, like, I remember when he first came to WWE, and I hadn't really seen a lot of him. I'd only seen the AJ Styles match. And I remember people saying how charismatic he was. And it's really understated how great of a just like facial actor that he is. He can get anything over with the way he looks. He just looks like cool and menacing and badass at the same time. So subtitles for him, like that package, it's even more effective when you have somebody who's that good at conveying their character without even saying anything. Asuka's the same way,
That's why, before WWE, I had only seen, like, the Wrestle Kingdom matches with Shinsuke. And they would do these packages beforehand where he's just talking mad, offhand shit about people in, like, fucking robes and shit. Like, just, like, being a complete badass. And then using that charisma that we've seen, we only see in WWE when he's coming to the ring and he's doing all the flashy shit and doing the going down to the ring and whatever. Yeah. But without that package beforehand, he's just like a weird character. Like, you don't like take him serious because you don't have anything to base it off of other than,
I mean, look at what they did to Akira Tozawa. I mean, that's just criminal, Yeah. But I will say though about that package, I thought it was great how Shinsuke drew the parallel of like we're a lot alike, and he showed like the entrances, and it's like that's a really good little callback right there because the flamboyance that Seth has is similar to Shinsuke, and the fucked up part about it is that no matter how flamboyant Seth is, no matter how charismatic he is, and we all love Seth freaking Rollins. I mean, Shinsuke has more charisma than Seth Rollins in one pinky, if we're really being honest about it. Like, Seth has just had more time to develop, and he speaks English. Like, that's really all it is, if we're being honest. That's really all it is. So, and I love Seth. I love Seth, but
I love Seth. I'm glad he's fighting Shinsuke. I'm glad they gave Shinsuke that promo. That if they keep doing stuff like that, that back and forth with their charismas will be great because, like you said, Shinsuke is a charismatic bitch.
It's just sad to say that like we're at the point now with somebody like Shinsuke that we're just like happy that he's going to do the job. We're just like yes, like.
Oh well, that's the thing too. Is like
at least is the spot.
Is there anybody right now that like is an actual competitor for Seth. LA Knight, but they're not going to do that.
If Gunther, well, I don't think they want. I don't think they want.
He's never losing that belt.
Well, here's the thing. I think Gunther would be great, but I also don't think they would want him to go into a program with Seth and lose immediately. But I think that's somebody. I mean, Damian Priest, he still has the briefcase, so that's inevitable. And I don't think they're going to let Damian Priest beat Roman Reigns for the title. That just doesn't sound like it's possible at all.
No. I want some. Like, I'd like to see the Gunther Seth Rollins pair up, because I'd like to see if WWE still allows their people to like shit on people with like lesser promo skill.
Yeah.
I would like to see Gunther go out there like all serious and get shit on by Seth Rollins for like a 10-minute promo.
Let's be real though. Sometimes Seth has a little bit of cringe though too. Sometimes he's
definitely, but he can still like talk his ass off.
Yeah,
like if
he has the same level of cringe as that Jericho does. It's like it's endearing. It's like
it is. Like, all right. It's why I like them, I think.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be like too real, because then
it's
you
like
forget
it's
that
like
this
campy.
is just a bunch of.
It's like campy but corny, but like okay, we're
watching dudes smack each other in their underwear. It's supposed to be campy and corny. LA Knight's walking out in a vest with no shirt underneath. All right, like let's
with skinny jeans tucked into his Timberlands. Jesus Christ! When that man came out with the skinny jeans tucked into the butter Timberlands, I was like, "Yo, who is this man?"
I hope when he finally wins the championship, they throw a bunch of Timberlands into the ring, like in ECW they threw them chairs.
But you know who does rock the skinny jeans tucked into the Timberlands, kind of swaggy? Big Bill. Big Bill can rock a pair of Timberlands.
Big Bill looks menacing in those Timberlands. I will say, like, he does. And that's because he's not wearing a vest. He's not trying to be.
He looks like he drives the dump truck that pulled up to your grandma's house in Staten Island, but also could lift it up and turn it over if he needed to.
Yeah.
Like
that dude definitely doesn't look like a sober man. He looks like a man that does not have his life together.
100%. With the lollipop in the mouth and everything. 100%.
So he's doing a great 100%. Character right now.
Yeah. It's because he lived the gimmick, baby. He lived.
You gotta live that gimmick. But like going back to kind of, wrap up the WWE stuff, like I think the booking is cool if you're not like in this lull of the bloodline, I guess, because is Roman out for a bit or something? Like he's not going to show up on anything for a minute.
I don't know if he's been on TV since the Jey Uso match.
Yeah. So with him gone, you have a lull. So build your other fucking people, and those seem interesting to me. Is Judgment Day breaking up too? Is that like a thing?
I think the whole Damian Priest briefcase thing is still a thread. I haven't been watching WWE as much, but I do. What I hope is that with Roman being off TV for a little bit, that they use this opportunity to build up that tag division more. You got Sammy and KO, who like for all intents and purposes are still pretty hot, and you got Seth too. So build up that tag division. Like, let the Street Profits win some shit. If Gable's not gonna beat Gunther, then let him and Otis fight, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for 6 weeks. Let, DIY finally reform. I've heard that there's like rumblings that, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are finally getting back together. There's been little stuff on TV. Apparently, I've heard rumors that when Damian Priest leaves the Judgment Day, that JD McDonough, or formerly known as what's his name? He was in NXT UK. I forget his old name, but Finn Balor trained him. He's been doing little stuff with the Judgment Day too. So, we'll see. Jordan Devlin was his name.
Okay.
Yeah. Now he's JD McDonough, which is so weird. Like he was just Jordan Devlin a year. It's like the Butch thing. Like it's like a whatever.
What does Finn do when he leaves the Judgment Day? Just goes back to being Finn?
I think Finn should go home and learn a new hold.
Yeah.
He's old. Give him a little time off. And then when he comes back, he get the Triple H in 2002 pop.
What if Prince Devitt shows up on fucking AEW?
Look, man, somebody else might be showing up on AEW.
And his name is Goldberg.
I got some good things to say about Goldberg actually later.
All right. He's got
some good things to say about Goldberg.
He tackles good.
I never say anything good about Goldberg.
He tackles good. He's got a good beard, strong beard. He can eat. He eats sparklers.
Speaking of which, there's been a lot of pro wrestlers that are like doing YouTube now, and I don't know if you've seen any of Stevie Richards' YouTube videos.
It's good.
He did one of the spear, and he was talking about Goldberg, and it was so funny because like motherfuckers love Goldberg as a person because he just seems like the nicest guy. But he was talking about Goldberg, and he was like, "Man, this motherfucker spikes himself on the head every time he does it. I don't know how he's not fucking dead. He's built different." I'm like, "So you're saying he can't wrestle? Is that what you're saying?"
Dude, there's been a lot of like wrestlers popping up, like the Stevie Richards one. Maven has
his
one.
videos are awesome too. Have you been watching some of his? They're really
I've seen
good.
like clips, but I haven't really seen anything past that.
That's a Virginia boy, baby. You got to support.
Okay, I think I missed the entire Maven experience, I guess, but
you might have, because that was like no, you were probably watching. I was like 02 or 03. The Tough Enough was. It might have been 03.
I think I stopped watching like right before the Tough Enough stuff. But yeah, finishing up with WWE, we wanted to talk about the weird Edge retirement, I guess.
I forgot we were even going to talk about that.
Yeah. Good match. They had a good match. The Sheamus and Edge match was sick. But is he retired?
That's what I want to know. Like, all right, so I think we can both agree that like this man's not retiring, right? Like Edge's last match is not going to be on SmackDown in the middle of fucking August, right? Like that's not. I mean, Sheamus is a great opponent. Don't get me wrong.
Well, you don't know if he's injured or something too, so I don't know.
True. Well, his WWE contract is just up. Apparently, that's all it is.
And they were like, "You haven't really done anything since you came back." So
that's what's weird. Like we'll get into it like a little bit later when we talk about old motherfuckers. But I'm sure for me and you, I'm sure you can attest to this, Patrick. When we were watching wrestling growing up, Edge was always like a mid-card guy for most of the time we were watching wrestling. I think if you were born in if you were born after 95, then for you, Edge might be on your Mount Rushmore. But for like us,
I missed Edge in the like championship role.
Yeah, because I
even missed like the Matt Hardy stuff too.
Same.
I've gone back and watched it, and the Edge stuff, like it doesn't really. I never really cared about Edge, honestly.
I mean, and that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking about today, and that's what made me get to that thought about like if you were born, because my brother wasn't born 94, so and he's like fucking loves Edge. So and I was thinking,
I wasn't like a huge fan of any of the TLC dude. Like I liked the Dudley Boys probably the most.
Wow, that's rare
out of all of them.
It's a rare answer.
And like I liked Jeff.
Everybody loved Jeff
as the Hardys, but like I hated Matt. Like I just like didn't.
I'm gonna be real.
Care about Matt.
I always, and I know this is supposed to be Edge appreciation right now, but I always preferred Christian to Edge personally.
Oh yeah, I always like Christian more than Edge too. It's like Edge was the one that was always propped up, and he did like the bigger stuff. But I like loved Christian. Like Christian just looked cool with his weird fishnet shirts. And shit. Yeah.
There was something about Christian's like his character work that I always liked more than Edge's.
Yeah.
Because I think in the ring, I think they're both like right there. Like there's not really that big of a difference. But I say all that to say that like if you were born at a certain time period, Edge it might be in your Mount Rushmore. But I think this last run for him, it's been interesting to me in a lot of ways because he's worked with a lot of really good people and had a lot of really good matches. Like if you look at the matches he's had, they've probably been some of his best matches of his career. But there's been like weird little like booking things every so often within the run that like don't make sense to me. Like that's why I don't think this is his retirement, because to end on SmackDown, You know, and Judgment Day stuff where he was in the Judgment Day and out the Judgment Day, and I think that was because Cody got injured, so they needed a baby face. So they just turned him baby face out of nowhere. And then the best match of all time or whatever at WrestleMania with Randy Orton, or they were calling it the best match ever, but it was during the pandemic. It was a good match, but it was like they piped in the crowd. No, it was like so much weird stuff in this run.
The Edge and Randy stuff, I watched it and I didn't really care. I was just like, both these dudes, this is probably really cool back in the day, because like that's what the lead up to it was, right? Like him and Randy had their shit when Edge was champion, I guess.
Yeah.
But it just like it was too much hype put behind it.
100%.
Not enough story.
100%.
It was just like, let's hype these dudes up. And WWE is like notorious for making those things fail. But like like Shinsuke AJ, you know, like
oh man, like, that's the worst. But I mean, to be fair, that Edge match with Randy Orton was actually like it was one of the better matches on that WrestleMania, even though at the time wrestling was very hard to watch when there wasn't a crowd. And I think that WrestleMania was before they were doing the Terra Dome, so it was an actual empty arena, which is like super weird. Like Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins had a match that year that was really good, but it was like no crowd, and Kevin Owens is diving off of balconies through tables with no crowd. I'm like, this poor man. Like,
I know, and they were all saying like the bumps hurt way worse than the quiet. So, yeah.
Oh God damn.
I mean, who does get like a great retirement match in WWE? You know,
look at Kurt Angle, greatest retirement match of all time.
Oh, who did he fight?
Baron Corbin, baby.
Baron Corbin. God damn it. I was literally going back in my mind and I was like, yeah, what was Kurt's retirement match? And I was like, oh yeah, he came back a couple years ago.
And he lost. At least Edge won.
Yeah, to Baron Corbin.
To Baron Corbin.
What's that dude doing? I love that they keep going, like bring back the NXT Baron Corbin. It's like, for what? Like, why do you want to put us through that again? But
he should have been in NXT this whole time, if you ask me.
but yeah, it's like who gets great retirement matches? Like
Ric Flair, but
Ric Flair got the best one, but that's like the only one I can think about.
That's about it. Shawn, before he came back and did that dumbass shit in
Saudi
Saudi Arabia.
He came back and did the fucking Saudi Arabia stuff, so it's like it's not really a retirement match when all these dudes keep coming back every 2 years. At least Rick wasn't allowed back in WWE. You know?
Yeah. Vince was like, "Stay home, please. Stay home.
You can
please.
come hug Charlotte for some cool shots." But yeah. So I mean, if it was his last match, and that promo after makes me think that it wasn't his last match, like,
yeah, I don't think it is.
You would just come out and say, "I have to go."
The question is this his last WWE match?
That's true too.
That's the question.
Motherfucker, if Edge shows up in AEW, I will be 10 times more stoked on that. Like,
I think he might, despite all of AEW's downfalls too when it comes to booking. It's a completely different thing where it's like WWE is like half the sandwich is toasted and half the sandwich is soft. AEW is like sometimes it's too much on the sandwich.
Yeah.
But I think he would actually have a better run because Edge seems just so like eager to like have those like Bryan Danielson 60-minute Iron Man style matches. Like he seems so eager to do that, you know.
But to have his actual retirement match be Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah.
That would be.
Yeah.
And please let the Hardy Boys retire too.
Yeah, yes. All of them. Except for Christian. He can still go. But all of them.
Pass the mantle on to Isaiah, Brother Ye.
That would actually be very poetic. And it would be very poetic that it doesn't happen in WWE. That would be wild. Vince would fucking have an aneurysm probably.
Dude, he would cry probably.
Yeah.
That would be what took him over the edge.
Tony Khan, if you want,
took him over the edge.
Tony Khan, if you want to send shots at WWE, fuck Goldberg. Bring Edge in and have
Edge.
That's true. That's actually very good booking right there.
And Finn Balor in, and let's
Jesus Christ.
fill those TV shows. But yeah, I mean, it was whatever. Like, because he's been like, it's been up and down on him retiring for like the last few months, hasn't it? So like,
Yeah. And I think it's just like anything we got from Edge after he came back was an added bonus because I think him, unlike Bryan Danielson, unlike Shawn Michaels, I think he was really somebody who everybody thought was done for real. Him and Stone Cold.
and it's also
Stone Cold
like,
didn't have a run. Stone Cold just did one match. So,
yeah,
you know.
and even though Edge did have that run, and his retirement speech is like one of the speeches that like people remember,
Yeah.
So it's like, you gonna have him do another one?
Yeah, and I will give him credit to his credit. Like, if you have such a great retirement speech like that, just like the Ric Flair shit, right? Like, luckily Ric Flair is too damn old to ever have a WWE match. Luckily, or else he probably would have tried by now.
I don't know.
But-
Conrad's got a lot of money, so Rick might.
Hopefully, we don't do
he might
another
be
Ric Flair
swayed.
last match because that was hard to watch. You didn't watch it, but that was hard to watch.
Vince is on his way out, and he's like, "Fuck it, give me $1 million. I'll throw Rick back in there."
But to Edge's credit, like his original retirement speech was so iconic. The run that he had coming back, I think he did himself justice, and I think he got the best he could have got out of it.
He did fine. I just I haven't really cared
Me neither.
about it. But it's also like I haven't really been super invested in any WWE thing.
The Judgment Day stuff was the most invested I was in him, and then they took him out. But then when they brought him back,
it was like the weirdest sloppy. Like
the match was like, I thought that was going to be the best match at WrestleMania, the Hell in a Cell match.
Was the Finn one the fallout of that? I guess.
Yeah, like Finn got hurt, so it is what it is. But that was the most invested in his run I had been.
They were trying to smack each other with Mountain Dew colored fucking kendo sticks.
At least he didn't fight Bray Wyatt. At least he didn't do that.
That's true. And in a match where you can't see anything that's happening. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that to kind of lead into a little spotlight we wanted to do this week, and then we're gonna get into like our predictions for All In. But we just want to do a spotlight on some of our favorite wrestlers over 45, which Aaron likes to call old ass people, but we ain't far off, bruh. So
I mean, looking at doing some research for this, I saw some other people's ages, and I was like, damn. Like I was telling you, we were talking earlier, I was like, Moxley's only 37? Jesus Christ.
Dude, when I saw, we'll get into it, but when I saw some of these people, I was like, damn, they looking like that at that age. I need to get my life together.
Oh, 100%. There's somebody that we're going to talk about that I'm like, dude.
I will say, Bobby Lashley was who I wanted to say. When I saw Bobby Lashley,
he's over 45.
He's like 47.
Holy shit!
That man.
That's a good one. That's one I didn't know.
But yeah, we're just we can just kind of go back and forth. But yeah, like just some of the people. I had fun looking this up because I was like, hey man, yeah, these dudes are still crushing it. You obviously got to have Jericho.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
I obviously have Sting on there because I think Sting's doing great, even though
he's 64. He's 64.
They're barely like Weekend at Bernie in him at this point.
It's funny you started with Sting and Jericho, and I broke it up into some under 50 and over 50, and Sting and Jericho are both on the over 50, and they're actually they're doing great.
Well, because the over 50 ones are like the shocking kind of that they're still competing at that level.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when Sting's in his 60s, that man shouldn't be jumping through tables, but he has the power of God on his side, and through Jesus, all tables are breakable. So it's either that or the soul patch. I don't know. You know. It's either the crosses or the soul patch. You don't know. But yeah, I guess I'll do that real quick then. I'll go through like the 50s one. Like you have Jericho obviously still competing at the highest level. Still crushing promos. He's not getting lost in promos. He's still Jericho. Can still string together a somewhat cheesy, somewhat serious promo and kind of keep everything on the rails.
Ask him.
And he's been like the backbone of AEW since the start. And then I had Dustin Rhodes on there.
I forgot about him too. I didn't have him on mine. How old is Dustin?
He's 54 years old. He's older than Jericho. And he's still doing fucking sunset flips and shit. Like, and still having bloody matches with people.
Sidebar, have you watched Stevie Richards' video on him?
No.
He has after we do this, you should watch that because he has a good video on Dustin as well.
Yeah, but he's still bleeding, going through tables. Also has the power of God and sobriety on his side. But you know, like it's like
we're gonna have to get baptized once we hit 40.
I know,
man.
what the fuck are we doing, dude? We've been shitting on God all this time. We need to make a comeback. But I have like those three, and then a person that kind of is in the same vein in AEW, but is over 45. It's actually 55 years old. Is Minoru Suzuki.
I had him on my list too. I
was shocked when I found out that man is that old.
Yeah, me too.
I think Ishii is younger than him.
I thought he was older than that, but I will say, and this is to piggyback off of that, he actually looked better in a lot of the matches I've seen than Tanahashi, and Tanahashi's 47. So,
but he has a style that I think, you know, lends to maybe lasting a bit longer, even though it's like very punishing. It's not doing all these like flips and jumps and stuff.
He can gimmick it a little bit better than Tanahashi can gimmick a frog splash, for sure.
He also doesn't have to be like as roided up as Tanahashi at all times. Like he looks like your grandpa that just got out of the shower and he was like, "Oh, I can't put on all my clothes. I got to go beat somebody up." Like, you know, like that's.
It's funny because I looked up Minoru Suzuki to find his age out, and I was like, let me look up Tanahashi because I thought Tanahashi was probably around the same.
45.
Tanahashi's 47.
Oh, is he 47? Okay,
47.
That's what it was. I left Tanahashi off because I'm not like the hugest I like Tanahashi a lot, but like on this list, I was kind of picking the people that I really love.
I looked him up just to look him up because I thought that he was probably in his 50s because of how he looks.
I thought Naito was over 45, but he is 42.
That's that Japan strong style, baby. That's that strong style.
Him and Shinsuke, they're the same age. But yeah, I mean those are mine like over 50 that I had on there. And when you get into the 45 to 50, that's where you get like our eras.
Yeah,
kind of
there's a lot. I was gonna say, Rob Van Dam's 52. And
I left Rob Van Dam off because I knew you would put Rob Van Dam on. So
Rob Van Dam's 52. Bully Ray, I haven't seen a lot of his work lately, but he's 52. I know he can still.
Does he still wrestle though? Like I think he just does
Impact,
promos.
He's in Impact, and he has a lot of like tag matches and stuff. He'll rarely have a singles match, you know.
Okay.
Bully Ray.
I thought he said he was like done with wrestling and he would just like come out and do stuff.
He probably should be, honestly. I don't think he needs to wrestle to be real. He's doing Busted Open, isn't he? So he should do the podcast thing.
Well, I was thinking in my mind when we were talking about the Hardys versus Edge and Christian, it would be cool to see the Dudleys, but I don't think D'Lo hasn't wrestled in like years, right? Or not Devon. Fuck.
Devon, I think all black people look the same. I think Devon is probably 100% done. Bully can still go, but Devon's his beer gut's a little. He's got a heavy gut if you've seen him lately.
He's got a heavy gut, and it's full with Christ because he is also a Christler.
Like that man looks like he has cement blocks in his gut. Like and it's funny because he was the agile one of the two, and now he's bigger than Bully Ray, which is life hits. But we love you, Devon. Testify.
Testify.
I feel like you left this one off because you know I was gonna do it. But Jeff Jarrett's 56.
I forgot all about Jeff Jarrett, honestly. Like it just kind of slipped my head.
56, this man looks incredible for 56. And you know what's even crazier? I have one more guy on this list that's 59 that looks even better than Jeff Jarrett. Daddy Ass is 59 years old.
Well, let's be real here, though. Daddy Ass is being held up by the finest Russian steroids.
Yes. Like when I found out he was 59, I was like, he's on the juice. He's on the juice.
Dude, when I saw him the first time in New Japan come out, I was like, what?
Bro, I thought he was like easily like, 51, 52. 59? You're 60 looking like that, bro?
They're all older, I think. Like
Patrick, how old is your dad? 70?
Don't do this to my dad right now.
My dad's 68.
My dad's like 70, 72.
My dad is 68. And we both have like larger fathers. They're both big guys.
Yeah, if I'm wrong about that, Dad, I'm sorry.
But but my pops probably hasn't looked like fit since he was like in his 40s, bro. And Daddy Ass is 59 with a fucking 8-pack, bro. What the hell you doing with an 8-pack?
Daddy Ass is also semi-retired at the moment, so...
Yeah, well, technically, we should have put him on the list because you're right.
Yeah.
He's storyline retired, like Edge.
But that's a big motherfucker right there.
Yeah! When I found out he was 59, I was sitting on the couch like, God damn. That's something you were talking about. You found some of these ages out and you were like, I need to start doing something. And that's one that I was like, give me some testosterone, give me a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? Shoot me up a little bit.
Aaron's like, get the good health care.
God damn, boy.
Yeah, who else you got over 50?
Over 50, that was it. Everybody else you named. You named Jericho, you named Suzuki and Sting. But I had RVD, Bully Ray, and Jarrett and then Billy Gunn. I was having fun looking up the over 50 guys. Because, I
was having fun with that. But I was the first person that I'm going to say was the last person that I found, and it didn't even cross my mind because of who he is. But Brock Lesnar is 46 years old.
Yes, I had him on my list too because I didn't think about it either until I looked up Randy Orton and found out that Randy is still pretty young. He's 43. So I was like, look up Brock.
I was like, surely Brock is not over 45.
Same. That's what I was thinking because Randy, I looked up Randy and saw he was under 40. He was 43, and I'm like, that sounds about right. I was like, how old is Brock?
That means that like his last
UFC fight it had to be when he was at least 40.
Yeah.
He was at least 40 the last time he stepped in the octagon.
And in my dumb head, I was still being like, Brock will probably go back to the UFC for like the last few years, and I'm like,
you and everybody else.
That man is 46.
You and every fucking body else. Like Brock,
he's not going back to the UFC.
Look, man. Mike Tyson had a boxing match,
and it was sad to watch. Okay,
who was it? It was him and not Evander Holyfield.
It was him and fucking what's his name, Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah, Roy Jones Jr. can still move.
Yeah, Roy Jones Jr. He still boxes, so it's like
he shouldn't. He really shouldn't.
He shouldn't. And he was looking at Mike the whole time too, like, "Hey man, can you stop fucking hitting me like that?"
You know that they talked before the fight, and he was like, "Mike."
Mike was like, "The animal's in me."
Hey, Mike, listen. I know it's been like 20 years, but you probably can still fuck me up. Like
he was like, "I gotta let the tiger out," and just took him out. I have Brock on there, which is after that Cody match. Ooh, technical difficulties.
Nice keyboard, bro.
After that Cody match, I was like, damn, Brock is doing some of the best work of his career, and he's 46 years old. That's so crazy to me.
And Brock looked really good. Like in shape, tan. That's probably the most cut up I've seen Brock look in a while, actually.
Yeah, definitely. And then after Brock, I had a lady who's been crushing it lately, in my opinion, even though they cut her match from SummerSlam. But Trish Stratus.
I forgot about her.
Is 47. And I remember being worried about Trish coming back and being like, this is going to be bad. And then she was cutting promos like a motherfucker. And she was doing good enough wrestling matches that, like, I wasn't sad to see him. Like, I was like...
Unlike Lita.
Lita We love you, Lita. All right.
Hang him up, just like Daddy asked, for real.
We love you. Just come in, do the moonsault, and please don't hurt yourself. But I had Trish on there because I've really been liking Trish's run with Becky.
I just looked it up from you saying that because I realized I didn't have any women on my list, and I was like, wow, what a misogynist I am. And I thought of a name, and Mercedes Martinez is 42, so
Plus, I looked up a bunch of women wrestlers, and there's not
a lot of older women wrestlers. There's not.
I mean, you can go to like New Japan kind of people, but I don't really know. Well, not New Japan, but the Japanese like women's promotions. But I don't really know a lot about that stuff, so I'm not sure. Like I was looking up names. I thought like maybe Mickie James would be over 45, but she's still like 42, I think.
I know Asuka's like 40, I think, or 40,
Asuka's
41.
Like 40. Natty's like 41 or something.
I would think Natty's older than that, but maybe that's just a plastic surgery. I'm being mean.
You can't even bring up women on the spot.
Stop.
They ain't eating enough. They got plastic surgery. They fucking.
Lord forgive me.
Oh no.
Lord forgive me.
But there's just. It's also, I think, as far as like WWE is concerned, the people from this time period are from like the Diva era. So a lot of them like got out once, WWE like dropped them and there wasn't really anywhere to go, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And I could be wrong on that. I don't know the ins and outs of everything, but it doesn't seem like they had anywhere to go after like Attitude Era WWE. You could have gone to TNA.
TNA is about it, yeah.
Where you were like the knockouts, but
somebody we forgot over 50 that I was going to bring up is Goldberg. He's 56. I forgot about that.
God damn, he's 56.
That's almost more impressive than Daddy Ass. That's almost more impressive than Daddy Ass right there. He's Goldberg. Here's the thing about Goldberg, right? And not to move the conversation from what we were just talking about, but I was thinking about this recently. If you look at Goldberg back in the late 90s, he always was somebody that struck me as like having a natural body. Like he didn't look roided up. He just looked like he was a really strong dude. But to look like he does now at 56, he got to be juicing too. I hate for this to turn into the like steroid accusation podcast.
I mean, all of them are doing a lot of steroids.
But Goldberg is cut the fuck up, bro.
I don't know. What was that first? When Goldberg like just came back this last time around, and he like jackhammered Brock.
Undertaker, or was it Undertaker or Brock where he fucked up?
I think it was Brock first, and then because they had like a SummerSlam match one year. I think it was SummerSlam. I could be wrong on that. I don't know, but I think it was.
I think you're right because I remember Brock jumping over the spear, and that was like super impressive.
Yeah. And I remember Goldberg looking kind of tinier and lifting Brock up, and him just like being so blown up that he was sweating, and he was wearing a gray shirt, and it was just like all of it just drenched in sweat. And I was just like, well, at least he's not taking steroids now.
Yeah.
He got out when he needed to. But yeah, I mean, Goldberg's crazy that it's 56. Like I would have never guessed, which it kind of makes sense when like Jericho and them were like the kids back then, and Goldberg seemed like same, I guess, age as Hogan and all the rest. So,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, DDP was probably like 45 back then.
I think DDP's in his 70s and probably could still go.
Yeah,
right now. DDP could probably have a better match than everybody we're naming right now.
He'll come out and diamond cut you, baby. I had Rey Mysterio.
Yes, I had him too.
48 years old, still doing some of the best matches that I've seen. Like slower. He's not doing the Eddie Guerrero, Rey, Halloween Havoc shit, but like he doesn't need to.
he's still wrestling a better match than like 75% of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Period.
That Dom match at was that at Mania where he came out with Snoop?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was amazing.
Fucking great match.
Yeah.
Fucking great match.
And you know, I don't know. You see all the people that have dropped off from that time period for him and Jericho to like still be.
I mean, we talked about Edge and Christian because Edge is 49, Christian's 48. That's still that. I mean, especially. Hey, you know what? A little nugget. This past weekend, Edge main evented SmackDown and Christian main evented Collision. That's like pretty cool. And that honestly, that Darby match was that was my favorite match of the week. Was that Darby Christian match? To me, that's match of the week this week. Like it was a really good fucking match.
It was a really good match. I had Christian on there. He's 48.
Christian's work style to me is like really interesting. Like he's a perfect example of like I feel like a lot of these wrestlers when they get older, this is not to take away anything from them, but I feel like a lot of their success in ring depends on how good the person that's in the ring with them is. And I think that's something that Edge benefited a lot from in this last run, is that he had a lot of really good opponents. I think Christian has been really smart. Honestly, Christian's been smarter than Double J, smarter than Jericho in the way that he's positioned himself in AEW, to where you don't see Christian get exposed in matches like ever. Like there's never a time I've seen a Christian match where he's been out of his element. The Wardlow match was like the most extreme thing I've seen him do in AEW, and he still was like right there with him. You know, like.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It was like, I don't even really remember a time ever that Christian, like, not just AEW, but like going back and watching like TNA matches and stuff too, and you know, obviously like his early WWE stuff. Christian doesn't do the crazy things that are gonna expose you. You know, like he keeps it pretty solid. At least like from TNA on, he kept it pretty solid. You know?
For sure.
And I think he was helping more so to not expose the newer kids in AEW than expose himself.
More so than a lot of those older guys. He actually carries a lot of like I haven't seen a Jarrett match where he's like that Orange Cassidy match. I think Jarrett was like definitely in his element the most that I've seen in AEW. Like Jarrett was moving really good in that. Jericho's had a lot of matches where he's carried people and you can tell. But there's sometimes where I see Jericho and I feel like he's relying too much on what some of these younger kids do to get over when he should rely more on what he does or did and got him famous. Like Jericho, more so than ever in AEW, is doing the stand there and chop spot. Jericho didn't do that when he was coming up. He wasn't standing there and taking chops in the chest, you know?
But he's also like a dude, at least from his kind of age group, that has the background that you can be like, oh yeah, Jericho can do this.
Yeah.
You know, like
he's been to Japan a couple times.
He's been to Japan.
He had a cup of coffee in ECW, you know, like.
And I think it's improving on the style that like Jericho had, because Jericho used to be kind of a fucking jump all over the place dude.
Right.
And I don't want to see Jericho do that anymore. You know, like he'll get his moonsault, his lion salt.
He'll get it. Like, he'll get it by hook or crook.
He will get it no matter what. He's gonna try and do it like 20 times against Will Ospreay.
The hands are gonna touch the mat, but he's gonna make it all the way around.
He's gonna basically worm the 75%. But he doesn't do a lot of that, and I'm glad. I don't want to, because Jericho will expose himself if he starts jumping around everywhere.
Sometimes I think with Jericho, it's not his actual like in-ring acumen. And with a lot of guys as they get older, it's not that. It's the cardio. Like you can tell. Like sometimes deep in a match, when Jericho goes to hit that code breaker, depending on how much that one knee hits them in the face, shows you how much breath he had. Yeah. Like if he gets him real good with the code breaker, he's feeling good. But if they graze the side of the calf with the code breaker, you're like, Jericho's a little tired.
We're also being real critical of a man that's drank like a maniac for years and
he's
can still do any of this.
And he's in the best shape he's been in the last 5-6 years. So
yeah, I've been excited about like pretty much every Jericho match that's come up.
We got to be critical of our GOAT. You know,
we do. We do.
love you, Jericho, but we got to be
love
critical.
Jericho. He's the GOAT. But yeah, I mean, like he is older. He's in his 50s, so not a lot of 50s people are doing that shit. But that Jericho got in Sting's ear and was just like, "Yo, if I can do it, you can do it, man. You're a legend."
Yeah, and I mean, I think Jeff Hardy needs to drink from the fountain that they're drinking from because they look better than Jeff. Jeff's been moving a little.
Well, it's Jeff, and like,
but he's still great. He's still great. Jeff is another one.
I love Jeff, but like, I was always like, damn, when he did that shit, and he was, late 20s, early 30s, and now I'm like, God damn it, Jeff.
Yeah, and to be really brutally honest, for someone who's put themselves through that much punishment and lived the lifestyle that he's lived for his entire life, to still be able to go out and swanton bomb Jeff Jarrett through a table and walk the next day, like, I'm trying to find a good way to say this, but Jeff, we love you and we want you to live a long life. You don't have to. Like Patrick, you had a great booking idea. Tony Khan, just give Edge $1 billion and have them open up All Out. Hardy's versus Edge and Christian, and Matt too. Matt has been limping like badly for the last 7 years.
Well, you weren't watching also the early AEW stuff where it was like,
I saw that Darby match. Jeff had. That was crazy.
Not Jeff.
Oh,
Matt. Matt just kept getting concussed. Like, in the Stadium Stampede match, he got concussed. There was something against, like, Sammy, I want to say he got concussed too. And you're just like, enough, bro. Like, you just chill.
And that's what I mean, man. There's certain people who only know one speed. And, we talk about Christian, and really kudos to him. Like, the only person that I think we've named there's only a few people that we've named that I think have gone that speed and can continue to do it. And we saw RVD do it. He did every single move he was doing 12 years ago, like a couple weeks ago. Goldberg only had 4 moves to begin with and can still do all of them. Unless it's a person that's over 280 pounds, then you might get dropped on your head when he's trying to jackhammer you. AJ Styles is on my list too because he's 46, but he's
AJ on there too.
He's an anomaly. He's an anomaly because he's fucking AJ. And I don't think AJ. I think is he straight edge? I don't think he does drugs and stuff like that or drinks.
He could not. I don't know.
He's a good old boy, so he might swig a Bud Light every now and then.
He collects like old arcade machines. I know that. I see that every now and then. But and he also loves God. He's got the power of God on his side.
You never hear stories about AJ.
That's the common denominator here.
It's this guy.
It's God.
You never hear stories about AJ like partying and
JC.
stuff. So I always imagined AJ to be like a sober person, and maybe that's why he's been able to still do springboard 450s.
That's why those roots in that hair haven't fucking gone even a hint of gray.
And that skin, too. Like, yeah, you might be right.
The only person that doesn't have God on their side, though, that we talked about is RVD, because he has the power of weed on his side. And
I've never seen somebody with a beer gut like that hit a Rolling Thunder and a fucking... This man did every single move. He played all the hits.
He doesn't even know that he's hurt when he's hurt. He's just like, I'm having a great time. And then 3 hours later, he's like, I can't get out of bed.
I really hope he signs to AEW. And next time that they come to DC or Virginia that we can go, because going to see Rob Van Dam wrestle at this point in his career is like going to see the Killers and they play Mr. Brightside. They play fucking I Got Soul, but I'm Not a Soldier. They play fucking When You Were Young. He was playing all the fucking hits, man. He was playing all the hits. I was watching. I was like, God damn it. This is amazing. I don't want this to end. That might be my match of the year. And I fucking, and Jack Perry, I don't even like Jack Perry. That might be my match of the fucking year, bro. Played all the hits, man. Keep playing, Rob. Keep playing. Goddamn. Right.
Please keep that same energy when we do matches of the year. Because I can't wait.
You're going to play this clip back at me.
I can't wait for us to get in a group with me, you, Eric, and Moretta, and we're like, what, man? Like, what?
Played all the hits. Played all the hits, man.
I think we pretty much got everybody on my list. The only one that I didn't say, which shocked me, kind of, was Sheamus.
How old is he?
45.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have two more that we don't got to touch on really, but John Cena, but he's not really, he's 46.
He's not really wrestling.
I thought he'd be a lot older than Sheamus. And Shelton Benjamin's 48. He's
Does
barely
Shelton
wrestling
Benjamin
too.
still wrestle?
I think he's technically on the roster doing like dark matches and stuff, but he's not really on TV like that. But Shelton Benjamin's he's still an active performer. So
Shout out to Shelton Benjamin for being awesome.
keep getting those checks, Sheldon.
Hell yeah. But that was just a little segment we wanted to do. Talk about people that are, in their late 40s as an inspiring story that with steroids, God, and or weed, you too can be a professional wrestler.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Did I tell you about me falling into a Reddit hole on the steroids Reddit?
No.
We'll have to talk about that later.
That's another we can do an episode all about who's on the juice and who isn't.
I think I did mention it when Pac came out recently, and I was telling you how I think Pac is you know what? Let's not do that. I don't want this to turn into me constantly accusing people of being on steroids on this podcast. There's been like 6 people today that I've accused being on steroids. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just a mark. Look, I'm gonna make an intro for the podcast, and I was gonna tell you about this, and it's gonna be the intro. You've seen it already if you're watching the podcast right now. The views expressed on Permanent Marks podcast are those of just Marks, and we're just that.
we are simply that.
Yeah.
Moving on from that and getting into this weekend's biggest show, which is All In, baby, in cheery old England,
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Where they're saying they're up to like 80,000 people right now.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they said they're like 4,000 or something away from selling out.
Which is fucking insane.
That is insane. Clap it up for Tony Khan. Clap it up for. Good job, Tony.
And they're gonna do this fucking Stadium Stampede match in there too. Oh my god.
That's gonna be sick. That's gonna be sick.
But we're gonna do our predictions. We kind of touched on this last week, but we're going to do hard predictions, and we're going to come back and see who was right and who was wrong afterwards. And we're going to touch on some AEW stuff. But we're going to kind of go through this a little quicker than we did our dream matches last week. So the only pre-show match we have right now, and this sets up what is your prediction of this, is the Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole for the Ring of Honor belts. And I guess the question with that, besides who's going to win, which is Aussie Open.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Adam Cole and MJF.
I see something happening during this match that goes into their later match.
Like they can't get along and
they can't get along or something. Yeah. Or okay. Adam Cole just straight up turns on MJF during that match.
Okay. I
don't like it because it's during the pre-show. I was talking to our friend Dan Lee about this, and he brought up the pre-show would be weird to do any of this on.
Well, all right, here's my question, though, to play devil's advocate on that. What would you rather see on the pre-show? Do you have an idea of other matches you'd rather see that aren't booked?
I mean, obviously, ones that aren't on here. I'd love to see a Willow match on the pre-show. I don't know. Willow's up there for me. Maybe just Britt's in that 4-way. So
is Jack Perry on the card?
Jack Perry's not on the card. You could put Jack against somebody. You could put Christian against somebody. Hopefully not together against each other. But yeah, there's a couple more that I'd like to see on the pre-show. It makes sense that you don't want to see. Well, I don't know. I kind of liked the 2 matches in one night stuff, like the Daniel Bryan Mania 30 stuff.
I do too, and this one's even more interesting because it's the whole they're on a tag team first and then they fight each other. I don't think that's in the modern era that hasn't been done. That might have been done back in the day with Triple H and Stone Cold Power Trip era type stuff, but I don't think that's been done recently, at all, and that's really I like that. I like it. I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win.
I don't think they win. I think something happens at the end of it. Either like Roderick comes out or something like that that makes it go to like a DQ or something.
I think that happens, but in the match with them together, and we'll get to that when we talk about that match. But
oh yeah,
the reason I think that they win is because I think that Tony Khan knows that this MJF and Adam Cole story is their best storyline going right now, and I think he wants to stretch that out. And I think the way you stretch that out is by having them win the tag titles. And regardless of what happens in the main event, they're still tied at the hip because they're a tag team, because they have the titles now. So they have to coexist no matter what happens because they have the titles. And that's how you continue the story. And I think that's a natural progression.
All right, should we just talk about MJF and Adam Cole
We can go right into it because there's a lot of good stuff on this card anyway.
So what I think would be better is MJF wins, but like just barely, and it's not because Adam Cole didn't beat him. It's because some fuckery at the end. And I have another kind of thing in my head where it's like MJF kind of built this up as I'm the fucking champion and I'm not going to cheat. So I don't know.
I'm not against that because we have to get to MJF and CM Punk, right? Like we have to because of the whole real world champion thing. So I think in my opinion, the only reason he would win is to eventually fight Punk, but I don't think he's going to win personally. But continue.
But you also have All Out a couple weeks after this. So I would like to see the breakup here. And then you get like 2 weeks of Adam Cole being a heel again, baby. And fucking building it to the All Out match where then I think Adam Cole might be able to win.
Okay. I think we get to the same destination at All Out, but different ways. I think that they will have another match at All Out, but I think that they win the tag titles early in the night. And because they're on this high of being, a cohesive team and unit, they're so happy. They fight each other, have friendly competition until the end when Adam Cole calls out his flunkies, calls out Roderick Strong and the Kingdom and the returning Kyle O'Reilly to help him win against MJF. That's what I think ends up happening. And then you go into All Out and have MJF win it back from Adam. And they're still the tag champions in between that. So you've got all these
Kyle
different threads.
O'Reilly done with being injured, though?
I think that they said that he's been rehabbing his injury. Like, he's healed. He's just rehabbing right now. So I think he's ready.
I'm reading that he's not going to be returning anytime
Well, even if it's not Kyle O'Reilly, the Kingdom and Roderick Strong help him win. And they can continue. The Adam Cole is now the real heel of the two. We've turned MJF face. The double turn has happened. But they're tag champs at the same time. And Adam gives MJF his rematch. MJF somehow wins so that him and Punk can eventually have their feud over the real champion.
And that would be cool. That would be a cool feather in Adam Cole's cap to have won the belt at the largest, show that AEW.
But either way, honestly, the way you said it might make more sense because I don't think it makes as much sense to take the belt off of MJF just for a month or two, just for him to get it back when he lost it, really. And so then that kind of weakens the story.
Promo on Wednesday got me fucking juiced up on this match, too.
For
sure. I was for real just going to be like, Adam Cole could win. That's fine. And MJF will be fine and he'll get it back eventually. But that promo that he cut where he was like, I worked my whole life to win on the biggest fucking stage. That's the only reason why I think Adam Cole's going to win. Because the double turn has to happen now. Like MJF. I mean, they were hinting about it on, Wednesday where Adam Cole got down and he was going to get him.
And then gave him MJF he's cutting the best face promos in the business right now, maybe outside of Cody. He might be cutting better babyface promos than Cody right now, and who would have ever thought that?
And he don't got to bring up his dead family either. You know what I'm saying?
Why are we so out of pocket on this episode? Why are we so out of pocket? You bringing
You
up
don't gotta
people's
bring-
family, and I'm bringing up steroids. We need to
You don't
stop.
gotta bring up his dead family. And he doesn't have to wear those shitty loafers either. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean- Hey, man. Look, I can't wait till the end of the year either because it's superlatives. We're going to revisit the half of the year. A lot of stuff might change. I might have been wrong about Cody.
CM
Spoiler,
Punk
I might have.
could have been set on fire and kicked out of the company by then. We'll see.
You never know with that guy.
All right. So what predictions so far? I have Aussie Open winning, and you have MJF and Adam Cole winning.
We haven't flipped exactly opposite. So you've
And
got
then-
MJF winning, I've got Cole winning.
Okay. All right. So we're doing good so far.
We like the divisiveness here, baby.
Yeah, this is divisive, and it'll be a good episode afterwards when we shit on each other for who won. But
I have a feeling you're going to be shitting on me. Because now that we're talking about this, your booking kind of makes... I'm sticking with my predictions, but...
I'm gonna write down my
I kinda
winners
like it.
too, so I remember. But all right, then we have FTR versus the Young Bucks, which I don't know.
Me neither. This is a tough one.
I think with all the spicy cash pulling the blicky on people lately, having a felony on his record might not be so good for him having
That is
the
a
win.
great point, and I forgot you said that we were going to bring that up in this segment. That is a great point, actually, because I probably would have chosen FTR to retain.
I
But
probably would have too.
but you might be now. The one thing that FTR has in their favor is that Tony Khan is not Vince McMahon, so I don't think Tony Khan would really be into punishing Cash for that. But I do think that.
I'm not talking about like a punishing thing, but like I don't know.
But still, it might be a better look business wise to take the titles off with them because of that.
You have not only the cash stuff, but you also have Tony throwing a ton of money at the Young Bucks recently to stick around. So, and the Young Bucks, they've just been doing Young Buck shit lately. Haven't really had like a super shine on them.
I was going to say that, and I think that's why I'm gonna pick FTR to retain, just because the Bucks don't seem as hot as FTR right now.
We're gonna split again because I got the Young Bucks.
Oh wow, this is going great right now. This is not
Like-
planned, folks. This is not planned.
I got the Young Bucks. The next match. Oh, and we have to. I guess I'll just write opposites so far. But the next match is Hikaru Shida versus Tony Storm versus Saraya versus Britt Baker.
That's a tough one too.
I want Shida to retain. I don't think Shida retains, but I could see them giving it to Tony again because it's in England. Or I could see Shida retaining and then what's her name walks down to the ring. Jamie Hayter comes back. Because Jamie Hayter's English, I think, right?
Soraya's in this match as well, right? You said?
Yeah, but I mean, has
So-
Saraya even seemed
Here-
like a threat?
Well, this is what's
she came
interesting to
in?
me. This is what's interesting to me because I've been paying really close attention to Tony Storm's promos lately because she's been doing excellent work.
She's been doing
and-
great.
She said something. She made a point to make it very clear that the Outcasts are a sisterhood this past week. She made a point to make it very clear. I have a feeling, because this match is tough to call, just like the tag one, but I have a feeling that it's either going to be Tony Storm or Saraya that wins, and I have a feeling that there's going to be some fuckery where one of them double crosses the
definitely.
other. One of them is going to double cross the other.
Oh, you think like Outcasts break up and
I do. I think the seeds of dissension are sown. I don't know if they break up, but the seeds are sown. I think something happens between Tony and Saraya. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Tony becomes a 3-time AEW Women's Champion. I'm making hot takes, all hot takes.
that's
tonight.
a hot take.
3-time.
I I could see any of these people winning except for Britt, which is
Agreed.
weird.
That is really weird, but agreed.
I think my prediction is going to be Sheeta because I'm going to go with who I want to win because I think Jamie Hayter does come out afterwards to like challenge her.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's like a 4 pillars thing from a couple pay-per-views ago where you get the move on immediately to the next thing.
It's unfortunate Jamie's hurt because to me Britt just doesn't really fit in this match. I think like we all know that was supposed to be
Jamie.
Jamie.
It was supposed to be Jamie Hayter,
and
but
it just feels like Britt's kind of shoehorned in. I wish they would have put like Willow in this spot. I think that she's done more to deserve it than Britt lately. She's very hot right now. Even Sky Blue. Sky Blue has been having great fucking matches lately.
Yeah, but Sky Blue, I don't know. She can't talk.
Yeah, she really can't. She really can't.
She's learning though. She's so young that it's like whatever. Like she'll get a lot better.
I just think like Britt has had a lot of wins lately, but I think the narrative lately on Britt has been that a lot of people have not been impressed with what she's been doing lately. And I think that this is kind of just like, you can tell she's just shoehorned in. But that's a whole other conversation. I love Britt, but it's a whole other conversation.
Well, it was weird. She just had like a bunch of like weird bounce arounds. Because I think TK was just like, we can put Britt wherever. And that's kind of what they did after Jamie got injured. So like her and Jamie were going to have a big blow off. That was going to be cool. And then I think Jamie got injured first. But I think Mercedes Moné was supposed to be either at Forbidden Door or here.
Because they were showing vignettes for her for a little bit. And
Yeah. So I don't know. What if Mercedes comes out? And
the injuries, I mean, we haven't even talked, but the injuries have been insane lately as well.
It's true. I'm going to go with Sheeta. I think either Saraya or Tony maybe wins this match, but I would love for Sheeta to have it more for longer than a month.
I agree because she deserves to have a good run.
A good run that's not in the pandemic where she had it for a long time, but it's like,
unfortunately, it's another one where the injuries and the timing of the injuries is just, someone's got to be that transitional champion. Unfortunately,
But it's weird. Like I don't think she's a transitional champion. I think she's just as strong as Tony was.
Yeah, well, not in the sense of her being a weak champion, but in the sense of this is our pivot. This is our pivot for now.
But it's weird because they didn't have to do this, Like they could have just kept it on Tony until here.
Agreed. So that and this is going to be I'm liking these picks right now because you're right because that was an awesome match, by the way. That might be the second.
I mean, it's
second best women's match of the year. Second best.
With how much fucking wrestling we have to watch all the time, I don't go as big on the reactions as I used to because I'm just like, there's a lot of wrestling that we're watching. But Sheeta winning that match, I lost it. I was screaming at the TV.
That was truly a surprise. And it was, like I said, that was the second best women's match to me of the year besides Rhea and Charlotte.
Yeah, it was a welcome surprise. It was very cool. So I got Sheeta. I got to go Sheeta. And then the rest of the matches, I think,
we got to talk about Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs. I am excited about that.
Oh, that's not even on my list.
That is a meat slapping match. Because it just got announced, like literally this past Saturday.
Okay.
So, because there's not many collision matches on the show. I think besides that, Punk and Samoa Joe is the only other one.
Punk and Joe.
Is the Bang Bang Gang fighting?
Nah, the Bang Bang Gang's not fighting. And neither is House of Black, right?
Nah, yeah, because they have that. They just had that Trios Championship match on TV. So
weird. What if All In is the Dynamite show and
I was just about to say it
All
seems like they're
the Collision show?
I don't want this to be a theme where it seems like they're switching back and forth.
I don't really want that either, but
it looks like that's kind of where they're going, unless you're like a top guy on that show.
But who is it? Wardlow and Powerhouse?
Powerhouse and Miro.
Oh, Miro. Okay. I was like, damn, please not Wardlow. Because I've seen that match 37 times.
Wardlow's been off TV, which is good. Go learn a new hold, brother.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I think that'll
Yeah.
be fun if Miro doesn't just squash Powerhouse
That's
Hobbs.
what I'm saying. Like, cause like I think Miro's gonna win. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
But this card is really interesting now that we're talking about it because like honestly, a lot of these matches are anyone's match. Like, I think it makes more sense for Miro to win, but I also could see Powerhouse Hobbs winning too. You know, I think Miro's gonna win for sure. But if Powerhouse won, it wouldn't surprise me as much as Sheeta beating Tony Storm. You know.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Miro on that, but I don't think Powerhouse Hobbs wins.
I'm just excited for this match. I'm excited to see both of them have their first match that's going to be longer than 7 minutes since Collision has started. Because they both have been doing like squash matches on Collision.
But again, is it? You know, like I don't.
It could just be really short. And like, hey, we love a great
It
sprint.
could be, you know, clothesline. Miro steps on that back, and then it's.
I would like to see a Brock.
Bang, bang,
I
bang.
would like to see a Brock Lesnar Goldberg sprint match between them because number one of them isn't Goldberg, so they're both capable of doing it good. You know what I mean? Like they could have that finisher spamming match going back and forth. Spine
I would
buster,
like them
super
to
kick.
do. I would like them to do that Brock Cena match where Powerhouse Hobbs just suplexes Miro 400 times.
If he's
That
going to
would be
win,
great.
that would be a good way to do it.
That would
You
be.
know?
I haven't seen enough out of Powerhouse Hobbs lately to besides those like squash matches that they put him in for me to be like, yeah, he's gonna beat Miro. Like, I
Exactly.
don't think
Yeah.
Miro's on the commercials and shit, you know, like not Powerhouse Hobbs.
No.
But so I'm gonna go Miro. A match I'm looking forward to. Darby and Sting versus AR Fox and Swerve Strickland.
Oh yes, 100%.
Please, God, let Swerve Strickland and AR Fox win this match.
Yeah, they need a win. They need a win.
I love Joker Sting as much as the next person, and that promo was so unhinged that I was like, "This is cool. I'm super into it." But please, I'm putting AR Fox and Swerve. I don't know.
I agree. I think more than anything, I think it's because not only do I want them to win, I think Swerve needs to finally get a big win. You know, he beat Nick Wayne, and I think that was his first win in a singles match in like since the Keith Lee stuff.
And it is true. We go over this almost every episode because you have like a huge problem with his losing streak or whatever. But the fact that he's still accomplished like all this shit with a resume that he's pretty much lost everything is awesome.
And
I think it's great.
He's consistently had, I think, if MJF and Adam Cole weren't on the show, I think besides them, he's consistently had the best vignettes and promos on the show.
I think they're just trying to do and I do agree with that. And I think Darby's little like production hand has been helping them out a little bit.
Oh yeah,
too.
you can see his fingerprints all over it. It's awesome. I love it.
But I think they're trying to do like the Orange thing that Orange did originally in AEW, where he didn't wrestle. He was in like the background of Best Friends, like. But then he started wrestling, and you were like, "Damn, he's good," but he lost, and then he lost for like 2 years before
before nobody can beat him.
Finally started. Yeah, before he's the most unbeatable person ever.
Before he has the God mode cheat code.
I'd like them to pull the trigger on Swerve and just let him fucking go and let him be part of the championship picture and stuff like that. But I feel like they're still like, we just got to wait like another year to get through the Adam Cole, MJF, CM Punk stuff. But
yeah,
he's definitely on the road to that. I don't see him on the lower tier belts. Like, I think Swerve's a fucking superstar. So
I think let him have an international championship run eventually. Like once it gets off Orange, maybe have him beat Moxley or whoever ends up beating Orange for it. Because I think he's the only person that was a credible, like, I really thought should have took the belt off Orange at some point. Everybody else has been like, we're just here for a good match.
yeah.
Swerve, like, it really was like, okay, maybe they're going to do it. But, we know they're not going to do it now. So,
And I just looked it up. Swerve's only 32, so he's got
wow.
plenty of time to
Wow.
do whatever the hell he wants. But I think he's built himself into like one of the most menacing people in AEW,
Great heel.
especially with that fucking one promo. But
Yeah, great heel. I
Or
want to
he
see
was
more
gonna
gallons of blood spilling out of skinny white dudes on TV.
yeah. And AR Fox, just phenomenal to watch. I don't know what they're gonna do with that dude, but he's so fun to watch.
He's their Ricochet. He is the AEW Ricochet.
Yeah. After that, we have the Golden Elite of Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page fighting Takeshita and the Bang Bang Gang. So yeah, the
That's
Bang Bang
right.
Gang
That's
is
right.
on
That's
this.
right. This is another one.
No.
This is another one. This is another one. I'll tell you.
The Bang Bang Gang doesn't need to win.
I think that both of these teams need to win.
Hangman needs a win.
I was gonna say Hangman.
Hangman needs a hug and he needs to win.
You know how I feel about Hangman. I know how you feel about Hangman. But for some reason, and CM Punk's not helping it, everybody is shitting on Hangman Page right now.
I don't get it. I love Hangman.
If not win, he needs to go out and have another fucking amazing in-ring performance like he always does. Maybe he needs to borrow from Logan Paul and do a buckshot to the floor and show everybody that Logan Paul is not the only one that can do it.
You know he's going to try that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's going to tell whoever takes it to stand further away from the barricade so it looks better. Hopefully.
Is there any cage matches on this show?
No. Actually, which is wild. No, there's not.
Unless they just haven't announced that it's a cage match yet.
I'm going to go with the Bang Bang Gang and Takeshita, though. Because I think that they want to build up the way that all props go to Juice Robinson and Jay White right now, because the way that the Bullet Club is the most relevant it's been since Adam Cole was in it, since before AEW existed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't think the Bang Bang Gang needs a win. Like, they're just fucking maniacs and they can continue being maniacs all around.
Man. Their Tony Schiavone promos are probably the best right now. They're so great.
Takeshita kind of needs a win, I guess, but
yeah. And that's another thing. I think Takeshita, I think they're really trying to build him up to eventually, I hope to God that Kenny and Takeshita fight at All Out. I wanted to see that at All In.
Dude, I'm ready for the Kenny Takeshita 3-part match.
Yes, we need to have that match. I think that's what a lot of people were upset about, that match, either that or him and Will weren't happening at this show. I don't need to see Kenny and Will again. I've seen it enough. They've had great matches.
I don't need to see Kenny and Will again.
But I think people were mad that him and Takeshita weren't fighting at this show, which I'm not mad about because I think they can build it up more and make it mean more. And I think you can do that at All Out and make it work. So
you have the Bang Bang Gang.
Yep.
And I have the Golden Elite. So we're split on that, too.
You might be right on that one, too, because Kota Ibushi and Kenny winning in England would be a big deal. They'll probably go that route. But I'm going to pick the Bang Bang Gang.
And Kota's going to do some weird shit, too. This is like a stadium like this is just tailor-made for Kota to do something weird as hell. Like... Maybe
he'll take a self bump through a table.
Yeah.
And get back up and go, ah! It's totally something he would do.
I love Kota Ibushi so much. But the next one is the Stadium Stampede match.
Oh shit.
Which is Eddie Kingston, Best Friends, including Orange, and the Lucha Brothers versus the BCC and 3 to-be-announced people.
Jesus Christ, I can't even keep track of all the people you just said.
Yeah.
The Best Friends, the Lucha Brothers. Pause.
All right, we're back from the little break. But we're finishing this up with the Stadium Stampede match. We have two more after that. But Stadium Stampede, Eddie Kingston, Best Friends with Orange Cassidy, Lucha Brothers versus BCC, and 3 yet unnamed peeps.
Who do you think the 3 are?
I have fucking no idea.
Me neither. That's so random.
I've been thinking about it since Wednesday, and I'm like, I don't know. Some British people. I don't know.
This is a match just to be a match. That's crazy. So I'm going with the BCC and the 3 unnamed. There's no and the Best Friends are the most notorious jobbers of all time.
But Eddie Kingston's on a goddamn roll right now in New Japan. He
is. And Pentagon is my main on AEW Fight Forever. So
yeah, you're kind of right. This is the Lucha Bros are there to take L's sometimes, and so are Best Friends. So I can see Eddie Kingston raising hell, but yeah, I'm gonna go with BCC on that one. I'm excited to see who the 3 people are. I have no idea. Like
I've never seen a Stadium Stampede match either. So
they're fun.
I'm here for it.
If they're like the other one, it's a lot of fun. We'll do this one, then this one. But next person, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. I think CM Punk wins.
I'm going to go Punk. I mean, Punk won the last one. Joe, it's not going to hurt Joe to lose to Punk.
No.
And I mean, like, Punk or Joe has that ROH TV title. We've both fallen off of ROH because there's just so much wrestling to watch. I don't know who's going to take that title from Joe, but I don't think it matters if Joe loses to Punk. I don't think it matters if anybody loses to Punk right now because Punk's not going to lose to anyone. Ricky Starks was a special case, which we didn't even talk about him yet in this show. He's also been another person who's just been crushing it.
Give Ricky a fucking opening match, too.
He's been crushing it, you know. Him, Tony Storm, and MJF and Adam Cole have really been...
Yeah.
They've been killing
it. Yeah, I'd go Punk on that one. You know, unless this hasn't all been a shoot and Punk is actually causing a bunch of problems. In which case, maybe Joe beats him as like a
yeah. And I mean, I was gonna say something like that, but also he's still got the title in the bag, and if he's gonna be playing up this gimmick as the real world
CM
champion,
Punk doesn't lose this.
You can't really have him lose. I would love to see Joe win, but you can't have Punk lose.
Yeah.
So,
and then the last match, which will probably be right before either Punk or MJ, or this match, I guess, will be right before, is the Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho.
You write down my picks.
I think there's no way in hell Jericho wins this match, but
agreed.
Especially like at Wembley.
Agreed.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you want some type of heat that Jericho hasn't been able to get in quite some time.
And I think Jericho, I think they're kind of trying to turn him face slowly. That's what it seems like. So
the Don Callis stuff has seemed real facey.
I think there's going to be some Don Callis involvement in this kind of, because we've seen Will Ospreay and Don Callis kind of. He came out this past weekend with the picture of Don Callis and Jericho with Takeshita and all them. So yeah, I think Jericho loses, and it's due to some type of interference to keep the heat on Ospreay, even though he's going to get fucking a hero's welcome in Wembley compared to the Canadian.
Ospreay wins that match, but I think it goes long, and I think it's a good match. I don't think Jericho squanders.
I think this will be Jericho's best match in a while. I think his last good match was Ricky Starks. That was like months ago.
Yeah, Ricky Starks. Was the Lion Tamer stuff against Adam Cole?
Yeah, the Adam Cole match was terrible.
That one was bad.
The Ricky Starks, I don't want to say last good match. I'd say last match that exceeded my expectations that he had was Ricky Starks. Because he's had good matches. Jericho doesn't have stinkers, but they're just kind of there most of the time.
Which the Adam Cole one was just like a weird. They just did weird stuff in that match, and that's what made it.
And actually, the Roderick Strong Jericho match was not bad. That that fucking hardcore match they had where he pinned him on the dirt, that was actually good. So I take that back. I think this is Jericho's best match since the Roderick Strong match.
All right, so we got Will Ospreay. So my official pick is Aussie Open over MJF and Adam Cole. MJF to win and retain. Young Bucks to win and be new champions. Wait, FTR's champions right now, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sheeta to retain, and Jamie Hayter comes out. Miro, AR Fox and Swerve, the Golden Elite, BCC, Punk, and Ospreay.
Yep. Yep. And I got, my list is pretty much the opposite. We agree on Miro. We agree on Swerve and Fox. We agree on the BCC and Punk. So it's going to be a very interesting, and Ospreay.
Yeah.
Very interesting post Wembley show. We're going to have a lot to talk about on that one.
Yeah. Well, that has been episode 15. Thank you for still listening. If you are still listening, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, I don't know, all the things that you can do on YouTube when this goes up and on Spotify. And if you want to say like what your predictions are, then put them in the comments. And Aaron's always there to talk shit to you. So.
I am, and I also think I want to start doing a tier list. So I think I'm going to make a wrestling drip tier list, and do a video of that later this week. If not later this week, then after Wembley. But we'll see. I'm going to try to, outside of the pod, I'm going to try to do a commentary style video or something fun in between. Add some more content. So
be on the lookout. And yeah, check us out. We should be back next week to see if our predictions came true and see who the winner in this is and who the loser is. Until next time, we're Permanent Marks, and we're out, y'all. Later.
Oh, yeah.